This thing on? All right. Please, everyone, bow your heads and pray with me. God, I ask that you use this story of me and you as a way to open up the hearts of everyone around me. I ask that you use all of the outcomes of this life as a way that I can show that you did all this, I did nothing. God, I ask that you help me deliver this message and that I can have an influence on someone tonight. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
So tonight I'm going to share some stories that I have never shared with anyone, and I had to go down to like the deepest depths of my heart to come and share this with you all. Even my best friend and my girlfriend really don't know some of these stories I'm going to tell tonight. So let's begin. My life has been quite the journey. When I was very young, my parents got divorced, so all my memories of family are broken. Later on in life, when I was 7 years old, my mom got into a relationship with a man that was not good news. Little did I know that this was the beginning of the most developing moment of my life. A year later, my mom and her boyfriend had a child together. I would later have another. My mother was very unhappy, and I could tell. I was too young to know exactly what was going on, but I wasn't completely naive. My mom and her boyfriend would get into arguments throughout second grade, and I remember the first time he hit her. I remember a huge argument in the kitchen, and her boyfriend slamming the door and leaving. He later came back. He busted down the door, got into a fight with my mom, and then they went into her room. I remember the entire room being destroyed, with both of them trying to hurt each other. And I remember standing at the edge of the doorway, not being able to help my mother. I remember the hate I felt towards Ryan. It was the seed of hate that would become deeply rooted inside my heart. Throughout the year, the same situations would happen. They would argue, a big fight would break out. This even happened when she was pregnant. We would leave the house for a week or two, and then we'd come back and the cycle would restart. After a while, my mom decided enough was enough, and she moved to a new town, wanting to start over. I was not excited to leave because I had quite a few friends I was leaving. My mom moved, hoping to escape all the trouble she had wanted, but she was mistaken. Halstead was the worst part of my life. This was the time I had to quit being a kid and become a man. Throughout the first half of fourth grade, my mom and her boyfriend had no contact except for the visitation of my two little brothers. Throughout the year, they started to communicate more and more, and then once again, he was back in her life. I resented my mom for this decision because now her choices impacted more than just her. It impacted her 4 children. She chose him over us. I remember hearing them talk, and I remember that feeling in my stomach dropping when I realized that they were coming back together. My mom finally told me if I had a problem with what she chose, then I could leave. And at 10 years old, I did. But I came back a week later for 3 reasons. And their names are Gabriel, Max, and Ryland. They were my little brothers and I couldn't leave them. Over the course of the next 2 years, it was just like it was in Larned. They would fight, my mother would get beat, they would split up, and they would get back together and I would want to leave. But the big difference between Halstead and Larned was the fact that I did not have very many friends in Halstead. I was acting like the grown-up in my house, leading me to be wild at school. It was my only escape. The last fight between my mom and Ryan was in 6th grade. I was in my living room, and I heard my mom and her boyfriend arguing over a mutual problem of theirs: pills. The boyfriend claimed my mom stole his pills. She tried to calm him down, but he slapped her straight across the face. This time she took it because she relied on him to pay the bills. My grandparents helped her before, but they would no longer support her because of her choices. She may have had to take the hit, but I wouldn't put up with it. I saw him hit her and I ran to defend my mother. I yelled, "Don't you hit my mother." Then he gave his attention to me, looked me right in the eyes, and he said, "Or what?" And he hit her again. I couldn't help but cry seeing the pain my mom was in. He then came up to me, got nose to nose with me, and begged me to hit him. So, with every ounce of strength I had, as a 5'2", 100-pound 12-year-old, I hit a 30-year-old grown man. And as you might assume, I didn't do much to him. But I was fueled by years of hate and disgust. He then picked me up as I was furiously hitting him, and he launched me into a wall. He then began to beat me. My mom had come in and took enough attention away from me to slip away for a little bit, but then I went right back to trying to hit him. But then he grabbed me, and this time he threw me into a dryer. Now that was the last straw. When he truly laid hands on me, that was when my mom finally decided that it was enough. I went to school the next day with bruised fists, a bruise around my neck where I was grabbed, and bruises all over my back. You'd think this would be the end of it, but it's not. After Ryan had left, the next year involved my mother being fully consumed by drugs, new boyfriends, and teenagers. Over the course of just 12 months, my house became ground zero for teenagers to come, smoke, get drunk, and take pills with my mom. She was the main source of antidepressants. This was all in the house of a single mom and 4 kids. And I, the oldest son, made it very clear that I did not want any of them there. Now, to try and get you to imagine what kind of crowd was constantly in my house, there were also kids from broken homes in the same situations as me. They tried to solve their issues with drugs. I did not like them, and they did not like me. In the summer before 7th grade, they stole my bike, threw it off a bridge, and let it sit at the bottom of a river. What kind of 12-year-old doesn't have his bike in the summertime? This was the beginning of a war between me and about 20 teenagers ranging from 15 to 19. So to get my revenge, I would wait for them to come over to my house. Generally after they got back from a party and they couldn't go to their house, so they made themselves home at mine. So I would get their coats and I would cut them to shreds. I would get their shoes and I would throw them into the mud. One time I even got a bag of weed and threw it up in the air. I'd gotten to the point where I had so much hate and anger in my heart, it became cold towards others. The worst moment was on a school night in 7th grade. I woke up at about 3 a.m. and there was a group of people in my dining room shouting. So I went downstairs and told them all to be quiet, but in a little bit more colorful way. On my way out of the room, I pushed the kid out of my way, and things got escalated quickly. We ended up on the back porch, and I was ballistic. Once again, I was completely overcome with anger, and I could not control myself. I was being held down by my mother and 2 other people as the rest of the group stood around me and shouted awful things. At the end of it all, I pushed my mother off me, and she kicked me out of the house. I had to call my grandmother to come pick me up, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, I waited for her outside of my house with a basket of clothes in the middle of the rain. A couple weeks before my 13th birthday, I made the decision that my 3 brothers and I are going to leave. I told my mom she was not able to take care of us. And after years of this torture, my brothers and I left my mom. Gabe and I stayed with my grandma, and my other 2 brothers went to stay with their grandma and aunt. I want everyone to realize that my childhood was full of anger, hate, drugs, and a broken family. But there's a silver lining in all of this. There were a couple of families that were good to us. My brother and I had a particular family that knew somewhat about the situation we were in, and they included us with their family going to youth group. They showed my little brother and I what a real family's like. They were true followers of Christ. They treated my brothers and I with kindness, and they were a light for us in the darkness. Another light for my brothers and I were my grandparents. My grandparents were our biggest light sources in our dark past. My grandparents made me know that through all this, I was being prayed for by many. That I don't have to be like all the broken people I was surrounded by. That I can learn from their mistakes and become a better person. So I could either do two things. Become just like everyone else in my environment, or I could get away from it all. And that's what I did. If it wasn't for the influence of my grandparents, I'm not sure where I would be today. So I left my mom, I moved in with my dad, I came to a new school, I made lots of friends, I was successful in sports, I was happy at the moment. I even got close to knowing who God was in middle school, but then high school came. Now I want everyone to know that I think it was a miracle of God that's what kept my brothers and I safe. I believe that there was a God that created this universe. I knew quite a few stories in the Bible in Sunday school, and I claimed I believed in God, but I didn't follow God. God was not what I lived for. I went to church out of practice and not out of having a thirst for knowledge. Throughout high school, I felt myself drifting away from God. I still went to church, but I'll be honest, my heart was dead towards God. I lived for the world. I cared about how I looked, what others thought of me, what I could do to get the attention of girls, and the newest way to fuel my ego. I kept telling myself I'll follow God later. I also obsessed about my future, mainly because I didn't want to go down the same road my mom did. I put a lot of unneeded pressure on myself that I had to be successful. I also believed that sports were what defined me, that my image was everything. And thinking about it now, I didn't have any faith in God when faced with a challenge because I did not trust that God would provide for me. I believe the beginning of my turning point was when I got humbled and played team of our fourth football game my junior year. I put so much of my self-worth into football. I put so much time and energy into a hobby that I believed reflected who I was as a person. I believe my record mattered more than a life for God. So over the time of my recovery, I slowly began to realize that it wasn't what defined me. I realized that I could be successful. I could get any girl I wanted. That I could have all the money in the world. That I could have the nicest car, all the nicest clothes. But I'd only be satisfied for a short time. I learned that I could not be satisfied by this world. And I want everyone to know that I really started to draw closer to God when I realized that. I started to find my true identity. It took a while though, mainly because I wasn't diving into the Word outside of church. I would look forward to coming to church, and when I was there, I would worship, listen to what Pastor Kent had to say. I would even leave inspired. But after a day or two, I would drift away from God once again. Now, the moment I truly submitted to Christ was when I started listening to a sermon about the branches in the vineyard. It talked about branches that can bear good fruit, and that only through God can it bear fruit. If I'm not a part of the branch with God, then I'm nothing. So I asked myself, am I bearing any fruit? That question had a big impact on me. And once I realized what the answer was, I asked God to come into my life and save me. I finally wanted to see Christ. I wanted God to become the cornerstone of who Sam Cruz was. From that moment on, I dove into the Word. I found so many answers about life. It helped me learn to get my mindset away from my selfish desires and focused on God, what I'm called to set my mind on. My worth was no longer based on the amount of tackles I had, if I was an all-state football player, or even if I was the best athlete in Reno County. It didn't matter. I gave all the hate I had in my heart to Christ because I finally trusted that He could carry the weight of my past. My heart needed a surgeon. And the only person in this universe that could fix it is the Almighty Jesus Christ. Now I'd like to read a parable for you guys. And it's Matthew 25:14. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags went at once and put his money to work, and he gained 5 more bags. So also, the one with 2 bags gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with him. The man who had received 5 bags went to the master and said, "You entrusted me with 5 bags of gold? See, I've gained 5 more." His master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." The man with 2 bags also came. "Master," he said, "you entrusted me with 2 bags? See, I've gained 2 more." His master replied, "Good. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, I'll put you in charge of many. Come and share your master's happiness." Then the man with 1 bag of gold came. "Master," he said, "I know you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here's what belongs to you." And his master replied, "You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers. So when I return, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold away from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has been given more will have an abundance, and whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them." Now the reason I shared this story with you is to point out what I could have done. That at any moment I could have felt sorry for myself and given into the temptation. I could have been like all the other people I was surrounded by. And I could have used the tragedy in my life as an excuse to drink or smoke the pain away. It was in my face all the time. I was offered drinks. I was told that if I ever wanted to smoke, just say so. And if I didn't want to smoke now, I will later on in life. That was the environment I was in. But I wouldn't let myself do that. I couldn't let myself do that. If I would have done any such things, then I would have been an influence for my brothers to do the same. But what I did do was remember all they said to me. I would remember the impact that drugs had on them. That they wasted every God-given gift. And I would remember that all this so I could do the polar opposite of what they did. Not only would I not feel sorry for myself, but I'd be thankful for all this. I would use the mistakes of others as a way to become a better person of it all. It was my trial by fire, and it was what made my will hardened. My goal is now to use what I was given and make something out of it. That I can turn my broken childhood into a way to help and guide others. That maybe I could even become a person that will guide my brothers the rest of this life. Maybe everyone here needs to ask themselves that question. What are you doing with the gifts given to you? Are you using your gifts for selfish gain? Are you not doing anything? Do you have hate in your heart that's still holding you back from coming to God? I have to tell you guys, if you guys were hurt in the past, you can't overcome it yourself. Only God heals the broken. That's why I'm telling you guys this story. I don't want you to feel bad for me. I'm not trying to convince any of you that you need God. Only you can make that decision. I want you to see that I was broken, that I was full of hate. I was full of doubt. I was selfish. I even failed to follow some of my core values that I believed made me who I was. But God saved me. He healed my heart. I've overcome my past. I've moved on. I don't look into my past anymore. All I can think of now is how I can share the love, grace, and mercy of God. Can I share that picture with everyone, please? I have one last thing I'd like to share with everyone. That's my mother up there. That's her and I on senior night. And after all she's been through, her own loss and heartbreak, she's now been clean for 2 years. She found her love for God again. I extended the forgiveness given to me by God to her and everyone else that's ever hurt me. We have a mother and son relationship again. That was something I never thought would happen after all we've been through and after we left her, but because of God and His plan, we came to love each other once again. I have one last verse I'd like to share with everyone tonight, and it's Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. I'd like to close everyone in prayer now. It's all out there now, God. God, I ask that you use this story, that you can share with everyone that's been through the same situations as me. That everyone knows that no matter what they've been through or how much hate they have in their heart, that they can come to you and be healed. I thank you for this past, so that now I'm a better person because of it. God, I thank you once again. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.